Alright, let's try to disable the custom app banned words validator. Likewise, we did it for the built-in validator in the previous video. So here in the template, I will reuse the isAdult property and ban this array of words if the user is an adult. Otherwise, it will be just an empty array. So in such a way, we basically disable the validator. In a real application, you can consider the creation of an Angular pipe for it, but for learning purposes, I don't want to overcomplicate things and leave it as it is. Now let's go to the browser and check it out. Now I will try to pick the year of birth that makes the user an adult and try to enter a nickname that should be banned by our custom validator. Then I will try to make the user younger than 18 years old, and the error is supposed to disappear, right? Because the array of the banned word will be an empty one. But we can see that it didn't happen and the error remains. The problem is that Angular validators are being executed when the form control value changes, but actually it didn't happen in our case. The only thing we changed is the validator directive input, but for Angular, changing the directive input is not the trigger to run validators. However, if we get back and try to change the form control value by editing the string and reverting it back to the previous value, you can see that the validation error disappeared. So we have to somehow give a hint for Angular when it should recheck the validation status, right? And this is how we can do it. I go to the VS Code, and if we have a look at the validator interface, you can see that besides the mandatory validate method, the validator can also optionally implement a register on validator change method, which provides some callback function. And as the description says, this callback function should be called when the validator inputs change. It sounds like exactly what we need. So let's go to our validator directive and implement this option method somewhere below the validate one, somewhere here we go, and we remember that some callback will be provided by Angular for this method, so let's add it here. This register on validator change method will be called only once when the validator is initialized, so we would need to store this callback somewhere and call it whenever we need it. That's why I'm going to create some private property. You can name it whatever you like. And this property has the same type as a callback function. And we assign some default value, which is an empty function. Then, once a register on validator change is called, we will assign the reference to the callback to this new property. After that, I can use it and call every time when I want to recalculate the validation state. In my case, I want to update the validation state once the validator directive input changes, just like that. And it will force Angular to recalculate the validation state for the control, which has this directive attached. Now let's check if it works. I go back to the browser. I try to make my user an adult and provide a nickname that is supposed to be banned. And we see the error message, which is expected. And now I reduce the user's age below 18, and you can see now that the validation status was successfully updated.